a story of a dangerous obsession with female beauty. It's called Snow White and...
Before we dive into how things started unraveling, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're into deep dives like this. Disney thought it had found a modern Snow White, an outspoken 20-something who could sing, act, and tick every 21st century box. But one viral soundbite turned that dream into a social media nightmare. Overnight, RachelZegler went from breakout darling to the internet's favorite punching bag. And the fallout scorched everything in its path. Co-stars, box office numbers, even Disney's century-old brand. So, how did Hollywood's next sweetheart become the face of a billion-dollar blunder? Buckle up. This isn't just a movie flop. It's a cautionary tale about image, ego, and the speed of a Twitter storm. A single audition tape catapulted RachelZegler from New Jersey high school halls to Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Critics hailed her as the next big thing, and Disney took note. Less than a year later, she signed on to lead the studio's live-action Snow White remake, a role once reserved for Hollywood royalty twice her age. For Disney, the casting looked like a masterstroke, a Latina actress reimagining an 87-year-old fairy tale in the era of streaming and social justice. Trade papers declared it the blueprint for modern inclusivity. Rachel called it a dream come true. Fans for a moment agreed, but fairy tales have a habit of turning dark, and this one would go pitch black before a single ticket was sold. But the first crack didn't come from the script. It came from a microphone. At Disney's D23 Expo, Rachel fielded a routine press question about the original 1937 prince. With a grin, she quipped, "He literally stalks her."
Excuse me, but Snow White is a fairy tale from hundreds of years ago. No one owns that.
We're not doing that. The clip hit TikTok before she left the stage. Within hours, the girl boss Snow White trended worldwide. Some hailed her candor, others called it a slap at a beloved classic. Then came the follow-ups. She labeled the plot weird, promised a prince-free storyline, and joked she was so over the concept of true love. Each bite-sized soundbite traveled faster than the last, feeding an algorithm hungry for outrage. What began as feminist reimagining morphed into headlines like RachelZegler hates Snow White and Disney star calls Prince a predator. By the week's end, the narrative was no longer about the movie. It was about her. But the internet's fuse wasn't the only one burning. Enter Peter Dinklage. The Emmy-winning actor blasted Disney for hypocrisy, saying the remake still trafficked in outdated tropes. In panic mode, Disney axed the classic dwarfs, replacing them with a CGI lineup of magical creatures, plus one token dwarf for good measure. The backlash flipped overnight. Dwarf actors, including Jackass icon Jason "Wee Man" Acuna, called the move erasure masquerading as progress. Disability rights groups accused Disney of sidelining real representation to dodge controversy. Suddenly, both sides of the cultural aisle were furious, some yelling, "Woke gone wild," others shouting, "Representation removed." Disney had managed the rare feat of disappointing everyone at once. And just when the casting war cooled, politics marched onto center stage. Old tweets resurfaced, pro-choice slogans, fiery anti-Trump digs, a blunt Free Palestine retweet. None were scandalous by Hollywood standards, but the timing was lethal. Right-wing influencers declared a boycott. Moderate fans wondered why Disney seemed to muzzle its own star, while progressive voices scolded the studio for not defending her. Inside sources whispered that producer Mark Platt scheduled social media coaching for Rachel. She skipped the first session, calling it performative nonsense, according to one leak. Whether true or not, the rumor fit the growing portrait of an actress unwilling or unable to read the room. Meanwhile, cameras captured a different kind of chill, this time on the Oscars stage. When Rachel and Gal Gadot presented Best Visual...
Bring me Snow White's heart in this box.
What'll I do with the rest of the body?
Put it in this box.
Effects at the 2025 Oscars, viewers expected sisterly chemistry, Disney's new princess beside its reigning Amazon. Instead, they got a masterclass in awkward. Gadot's polite nods felt frostier than the Dolby Theater's air conditioning. Rachel's forced smiles couldn't thaw them. Slow-motion breakdowns flooded YouTube. No eye contact, zero side chatter, Gadot stepping a fraction ahead on the exit. Body language experts weighed in. Tabloids ran with Gadot distances herself from controversial co-star. A Variety insider claimed Rachel had called Gal a professional pageant queen off camera. No proof surfaced, but in the court of public opinion, evidence is optional. The feud, real or rumored, gave fans another reason to pick sides, and none of those sides involved buying a movie ticket. All that drama showed up where it hurts most. Opening weekend. The film premiered to $43 million domestic, barely half Disney's conservative projection. By week 2, it slid out of the top 5 behind a low-budget horror flick and a Mario Kart re-release. Analysts pegged the shortfall at $115 million. Then a sustainability watchdog reported the production's carbon footprint rivaled some mid-sized towns. Headlines screamed, "Woke Snow White isn't even green." Late-night comedians feasted on the irony. Merchandise tanked. Disney's normally perky quarterly call sounded like a eulogy. And with audiences tuning out, satire tuned in. Because when ratings sink, the yellow family from Springfield smells blood. News leaked that The Simpsons had finished an episode titled Snow Woke, the Reimagining. Their stand-in, Rachel Z bans princes, replaces dwarfs with vertically optimized sprites, and ends up melting down on Krusty the Clown's couch. A single promo still, Rachel Z clutching an empty award shelf, went viral before the episode even aired. YouTube critics spliced it with Rachel's real interviews, scoring millions of views in days. South Park chimed in with a parody trailer. Reddit threads labeled it the fastest cartoon roast in history. For decades, being mocked by The Simpsons has marked a cultural tipping point. You've crossed from celebrity into spectacle. Rachel's team knew it, and reportedly begged Disney to intervene. The studio stayed silent. That silence spoke volumes to the rest of Hollywood. Red carpet premieres shrank to influencer-only screenings. International press tours were scrapped. Insiders said studio execs quietly instructed casting departments to pause projects featuring Rachel. She was still under contract, but new offers evaporated. In an industry obsessed with optics, she'd become a walking risk assessment. Brands feared association. Talk shows feared live gaffes. Directors feared headlines overshadowing scripts. Rachel's personal life took hits too. Her high-profile romance with West Side Story co-star Josh Andres Rivera fizzled under the strain of death threat DMS and constant paparazzi. Fans dissected the breakup like a post-credits scene, feeding the perception of a star unraveling in real time. And then came the cultural obituary, the IMDb score. Within a month, Snow White's IMDb rating sank to a jaw-dropping 1.6. Lower than infamous box office bombs like Cats or The Room. Reviewers didn't just critique plot or effects. They roasted its preachy tone, soulless CGI, and lead actress's condescension. Meme pages posted side-by-side shots. The original's 98% Rotten Tomatoes audience score versus the remake's crimson 12%. TikTokers filmed empty theaters, counting rows of vacant seats. One viral clip showed a lone viewer, dressed as the evil queen, laughing at her own private screening. The numbers weren't just bad, they were historic. And history, once written in pixels, rarely gets erased. But if you thought the numbers were the final blow, you haven't seen how weird Hollywood can get. As if scripted by Black Mirror, a fake OnlyFans profile featuring AI-generated Rachel images surfaced. Thousands followed within hours. The account was debunked just as fast, but the damage was done. For many, the idea felt plausible. That's how far her reputation had slipped. Deep fake scandal sounded believable. Cyber lawyers weighed in. Disney's legal team sent takedowns. Rachel tweeted a tearful plea to stop exploiting my image. Trolls doubled down. The episode highlighted a brutal truth. Once the public narrative spirals, even the unreal can ruin you. And in Hollywood, perception is currency. RachelZegler's journey should have been a modern Cinderella story. Instead, it morphed into a grim cautionary tale, complete with poisoned apples of social media, dwarfs erased by algorithm, and a magic mirror that refused to flatter. In under 3 years, she leapt from Spielberg's protege to Disney's liability,
want to be a Disney princess,
proving that talent alone can't outsing a PR avalanche. Can she claw back? Absolutely. Hollywood loves redemption arcs almost as much as it loves scandal. All it takes is one knockout performance, one heartfelt apology tour, one viral moment of humility. But the window is shrinking, and the memes are multiplying. So next time a studio crowns a new princess, remember this saga. In the age of instant outrage, the fairest of them all isn't the one with flawless skin or perfect pitch. It's the one who knows when to talk, when to tweet, and, most importantly, when to let the fairy tale speak for itself. Because in 2025, the real moral of Snow White isn't love conquers all. It's control the narrative or the narrative controls you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories just like this. Drop a comment and let us know what you think. We're reading all of them.